Do people who have family members who are homeless wonder where they went? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. I volunteer at a soup kitchen, and the saddest thing was a dad who had come from another state showing us a photo of his son, whom he was looking for. My wife's sister been missing for about 2 years, probably alive but we don't know. Sure we wonder, but not anything we can do about it. My older sister has cycled through periods of homelessness for most of her life due to drug abuse and alcoholism, resulting in her being physically abusive to our family. I've pretty much given up thinking about her. The last thing she said to me was a threat to shove me down the stairs. My grandparents adopted a son, Bill, in the 60s or 70s when he was about 8 years old. His biological mom's home life was, politely, unsuitable for children. The state took him away from her. From what I've heard, rightfully so. He was angry at my grandparents for stealing him. The hour he turned 18, he left. He's been on drugs, homeless, vagrant, and generally MIA for the last 40 years. We don't know where he is, what he's doing, or even if he is alive. I met him once when he came back for Christmas one time in the late 80s. He brought me a grabber tool as a present. I was 6. Depends on the situation. I have a cousin who has been homeless for years. Sometimes, my family had a vague idea of where she was, usually a city, or more specific if she was incarcerated. She has a history of drug addiction, mental illness, and crime. People have tried to help her, but she doesn't want it. She just wants to do drugs. She will steal from you and lie to your face. She only cares about herself. I used to have sympathy, but that is gone now. At this point, I think my whole family feels the same. She's been incarcerated for about 5 years now, so we know where she is. I'm sure as soon as she gets out, she'll be back on the same path as before, and I don't think anybody in my family will try to keep up with her. I used to work with a nonprofit that dealt with the homeless, and this one lady's story really shocked me. She was wicked smart and had several degrees, but she chose to live on the streets. Her family could do nothing because she knew all the social work tips and tricks to avoid them detaining her. We tried to help her get back to her family and even contacted them, but she was like, "No, I'm good." I wonder a lot about if she's still here or she moved on to another city. She basically hops from state to state. A very close family childhood friend's father was homeless on and off. She mentioned how difficult randomly seeing him out in the world was. Sometimes he was at a bus stop, other times just walking, etc. She admitted being guilty, her words, of stopping to talk if he looked in good sorts, and not stopping if he did not. Dude had a serious problem with huffing, and it eventually led to his demise. My brother 33M is on the verge of homelessness. We have tried helping him for years, but it is a tiring, defeating, and ultimately futile mission. It is devastating to me that our loved ones can be so oblivious to the deep concern and pain we feel for them. Homeless doesn't mean that you don't know where they are. I had a family member homeless in a town across the country, but my family made sure he had a phone that was always in service, so that we could touch bases with him every couple of days. My son is homeless, schizophrenic and addicted, refuses help and medication, says, and I quote, "I'm just going to shoot dope until I die. I know the city he's in. He always phones on my birthday, Mother's Day, and to wish me a Merry Christmas. He cycles through Obama phones frequently. He says they get stolen, but I suspect that he destroys them because they are monitoring him. He's super paranoid and thinks they monitor his thoughts. It's so sad. Not all homeless people are lost in the way you were thinking." Yes. No one has heard from my mom in over 6 months. We just had winter. Me and my stepfather still keep an eye out for her at her usual begging spots or encampment sites, but no sight. She's been on the streets for about 2 years now. She's also been offline Facebook, which is unusual for her. It keeps me up at night, but I am also in therapy working towards moving on with my life and trying to let go. She's hurt us a lot, burnt all her bridges, and is too sick from her own pain and addiction for us to help her. Her first grandchild was just born and she has no care for that. It's sad. My homeless plan is suicide. Don't bother looking. No.